Good morning. I am so pumped to see you all here and everyone on the replay. Hello. I really hope my internet will cooperate today. It's not windy, like I was just saying, it's not windy today. So I hope that everything is better than it was yesterday, but let's just roll with it. And if I need to move locations and get closer to the router, I can do that. So anyway, welcome into Tap Into Her, you guys. This has this has been an event that has been on my heart for honestly quite a while because you guys have been tapping with me for a bit. Most of you here, if not all, have been tapping with me in some capacity. Maybe some of you watching the replay have never tapped with me, and today is the day because we're actually going to tap together. I have my own tapping method that I created. It's been like a work in progress, but the start of this year, I actually came to this realization and I was like, what am I waiting for? Like I already tapped my own way. Manifestation meets EFT tapping. Why not brand it as an actual method? And so that's what I'm teaching you. That's what I'm teaching you today. Okay, you're breaking up a little, just like okay. All right. Okay, well thanks for that, Shelby. Let's keep going and let me know if it gets worse because I will move over there. Okay. So welcome in, you guys. Let's talk a little bit about the itinerary. What are we going to cover over these 3 days before we actually get into the content of today? So before I do, I want you to get into the chat. I want you to introduce yourself and remember that the other women who are in this event with you, whether they are here live with you or on the replay, are your people. Okay, so many of us, maybe you do have a really supportive community in your local area, close in proximity with you, like in your personal life, but a lot of us do not. But I want you to remember that we are your people. Like these are your people. So get into the chat, introduce yourself. Who are you? Tell us where you are as well, because sometimes we have people who are all over the world, but sometimes you're actually local to each other, which is so fun. And I love seeing you guys meeting up and in person and things like that. So get into the chat. And as we go through this conversation today and over the next 3 days, I really want you to interact with me and interact with each other in the chat. If you have questions, drop them in there. If you have something to add to the conversation, drop it in there. If something lands, say, hell yes, like this is totally landing. This makes so much sense. Like have a conversation with me in the chat. That is one of the gifts, the benefits, the perks of being on live with me is that you actually get to communicate with me and everyone else who's on live here. And remember, like these are your people. Okay. We want to see you win. We want to see you rise. We are here to hold you higher and remind you of the truth inside. Okay. So itinerary, we have 3 days together, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and each day is going to be about an hour long. So today we are 10 to about 11 Central Standard Time. Tomorrow we are an hour earlier. Okay. And on Saturday, I haven't decided yet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be an hour earlier as well. We're going to start at 9 on Saturday just because I know we're all different time zones and it's a beautiful time of year. I also think that we could start at 9 on Saturday. Okay, so each day there will be a call to action. We'll be tapping each day. There's gonna be lots of different things going on. So let's get into it. Okay, so thank you guys for introducing yourself. That's awesome. Kelty from Cranbrook, BC, Canada. She's an author and she's here to expand. Doing it anyways, brain injury, always doing it anyways. I love that. Shelby in Florida, Mama One, empowered motherhood coach and hairstylist. You guys are amazing. I love that. Okay, thank you for sharing and keep sharing, you guys. Okay, Anael living in Belgium, cooking dinner, so I'm not on camera. All good. Big dreams, really need inner safety to take action. So yes for this training. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so good for you, Anael. Because it's the realization, it's like, I am the only one holding me back, but it still feels very real. And what can I do about that? So you're all in the right place. I'm so grateful you are all here. So I'm going to take you through my expand method. So I'm going to teach you about it as we experience it. I'm going to teach you how to create your own tapping sessions and activations. And Like I said earlier, I can't remember if I was recording or not. Like today, we are actually, I didn't even say this on here actually, I sent it in a voice note over in the portal. Today, we are actually going to create a tapping activation together. Oh, I did say it actually. I said it to Kelty. Okay. All right. Shall we get into it? So let's start with part one. Okay. I want to share with you my story before we start with part one, which is awareness. My tapping story. Actually, I missed a little bit here, but that's okay. So I want to hear, actually, you guys all that are here, you have tapped with me before. So I don't need to hear that you've tapped with me before. I know you have. My tapping story, I was introduced to tapping about 8 years ago when my middle daughter was tiny, okay? I was living at that time in government housing. I was at that time telling myself a story of lack and limitation. I don't believe that I ever felt that I was stuck, but I definitely was telling myself one day this will happen. One day my results will change. One day I will be able to fulfill my dream of showing my kids the world, right? One day, one day, one day. Okay, tapping came into my life. In the beginning, I kind of was skeptical. I was like, I don't know if this is doing anything. And then I took part in a 21-day tapping challenge and everything changed. Okay, it was a tapping and affirmations challenge. So it was quite different from the tapping we are going to do today, but it started to override my usual programming inside. Okay, it started to override the reality that I was living in. And instead of telling myself the story of I was living in government housing, single, struggling, struggling single mom, waiting for the dad to show up, whatever it is, instead of subscribing to that story that had been playing for so long, I wonder if it's me or is anyone else? Is it breaking up a lot for anyone else? Kelty, is it all right for you? A little bit? Let me know. Working good. Okay, we'll keep going. Thank you. So instead of continuing to think from the idea that I was struggling, that I was limited, I started to think from the idea that more was available for me, that more was available for me. And that changed everything. So tapping helped me to override that program. And we're going to talk about that today and throughout the next couple of days. Okay, so I believe that tapping was the reason that I was able to collapse time like I did. Tapping is a tool that helps us to override old information and free it from our body. There's no more of this, like, I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm actually going to address the fear, tap on it, voice it out, and free it from my body so it's no longer there. And anytime it shows up again, I'm going to tap the new reality into my body. Okay. Let me know how this is landing, you guys. And let me know how often you guys tap. I know that most, some of you here might tap every day. Maybe you're like, I usually tap every day. Sometimes I'm every day. Maybe you're like, I know I want to tap more. Let me know. Okay. Over the next 3 days, today we're going to start with awareness. So, because without awareness, nothing changes. Okay. But the moment that we have the awareness and we can be aware that we are living in a cycle or we are living up to old information, then we can do something different. Tomorrow, we're going to go into healing, right? That's the second part of my method. And we're going to talk about, programming, right? And we're going to talk about the fact that no matter what we do, we're going to create the same results until we change our inner perspective and our inner world. Okay, and then on Saturday, we're going to bring it all together with activation and expanding, and we're going to choose a new story and learn how to call it in and fully embody that version of us with that level of personal power. All right, so on Saturday, I'm also going to give you guys an opportunity to tap with me for 30 days. So you got to stick around. Usually tap most days. Since I had another concussion 6 weeks ago, I've fallen off my daily rituals. Awesome. So you're also in the right place. I feel like this is just such divine timing, this event here. So So the first step to manifesting a new experience, let's talk about this. I put this on my stories yesterday, my Instagram stories, as a question. And I had some people respond. I said, what do you think is the first step in changing your results and manifesting a new experience? I want to hear in the chat, what do you guys think it is? Maybe you're watching my stories and maybe you actually saw me reveal what it actually is. What do you think the first step to manifesting a new experience in your life is? Let me know in the chat. Take a wild guess. Okay. Awareness of where you are now. That is very important. But it's not the first step. What is the first step in manifesting a new experience? De no quiere ir a la piscina. Okay, knowing where you want to go, also very vital. Knowing what you want, right? Decision making, that's also very important. And those were the answers that came through on my stories because we've talked about that in the past. But actually, this came through like 2 days ago. And I was like, wow, the first step to manifesting a new experience is regulating your nervous system. It's regulating your nervous system. Okay, and because it makes perfect sense. We know this, and we're going to dive into this a lot more tomorrow when we learn about the polyvagal theory. And actually, I'm going to teach you about the nervous system and how it works and what it is and how important it is. So the first step to manifesting a new experience is regulating your nervous system, because if we are in survival mode and we want a new experience, what idea are we thinking from? What ideas are we thinking from when we are in survival mode? We are thinking of surviving. We're not thinking of anything else. Okay, if we try to dream when we are in survival mode, what is happening? We are dreaming like this, if anything. And that dream is coming from probably the perspective of fear, lack and limitation, not enough, that kind of survival instinct. Okay, does that make sense? So a first step to manifesting a new experience is regulating your nervous system, not knowing how, not knowing what you want, not having all the credentials, not having permission from anyone else. It's regulating your nervous system. Okay. So when we are existing in a state of survival, we aren't even thinking, never mind dreaming or creating. I want you to think about that for a second and let me know if that lands in the chat. When we are in a state of survival, we aren't even thinking, never mind dreaming or creating. Have you experienced that before? I'm going to give you an example, because survival doesn't need to be dire, right? It doesn't need to be like government housing, there's no food, I have no money, like everything is chaotic. Like survival does not need to be that dire. And that's where I think a lot of people get a little bit, what do I want to say, like not confused, but like we get a little, yeah, you know what I mean? Anyway, hopefully. So for example, survival mode can also be triggered if we go to do something we've never done before. Like, okay, I want to show up on social media as my best self, as her, right? And we go to do that, and what happens? Like the same signal is sent to the brain, the nervous system, the body feels unsafe. Why does it feel unsafe? Most of the time, it's from something that happened in the past. Okay, well, last time I did this, I had someone message me and call me out. Right? Last time I did this, my views dropped and nothing happened. I felt like a failure, right? Last time, most of the time, we are creating and thinking from ideas from the past. Okay, so survival mode is then triggered. So even if it's something as simple and basic as posting on social media in a new way, starting that business, selling that coaching package, raising your prices, going to that networking event, pitching yourself to speak on someone's podcast, whatever it is, survival mode can be triggered. And then what happens is we basically it's almost like we build a cocoon around ourselves, right? It's like this state of survival where we can't. And sometimes, have you ever been in a situation where you're like, oh man, I haven't posted on social media today. I need to post on social media today. I haven't posted on social media today. And we like get in this like survival mode about it. And then we go to sit down and we're like, I need to post on social media today. Like, why can't I think of anything? Why don't I know what to post? Have you felt that before? And maybe it's not directly related to social media, but it's like, okay, I need to do this thing. I'm going to make myself do it. Why can't I think of anything? Why am I not creative? Why are we not creative in that situation? Because we're in survival mode. Because we're literally ready to run from a tiger. That is our like ancient abilities. That survival mode is when the heart is pumping, the extremities are ready to go. We're ready to run from a tiger. We're not thinking. We're not digesting. I say this often as well because it's, in my opinion, it's true. Yes, exactly. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a second. If you have been existing in a state of survival in the fight or flight response for an extended period of time, I can also guess that you also have digestive issues. Why? Because when we are in survival mode, when we're running from a tiger, our digestive system doesn't need to work. Our brain doesn't need to work. We're literally just surviving. So that's how interconnected all of this is. So we're going to talk about soothing and regulating the nervous system, mostly tomorrow. But I just wanted to plant these seeds because this is so important, okay? And then Kelty says, when I'm soothed, I can't stop getting new ideas. Why do we get our best ideas when we're in the shower? Does anyone do that? Is anyone like, oh my God, I need to like get a waterproof phone so I can just write all my notes in my shower? Like, why is that a thing? Why during a meditation, why during a meditation do we get all these insane ideas? Why when we are tapping, all of this information comes through us? Why when we are just about to go to sleep? Does that happen to any of you? You're laying in bed and you're like, good night. And you're like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. I gotta get up and write that down. Does that happen to you? Why is that? It's because that is for most people, not for all of us though, that is for most people when the nervous system can actually relax. Isn't that crazy when we think about that? So I want you to think and let me know in the chat, when do you get, yes, Kelty, when do you get your best ideas? I woke up at 4 a.m. and wrote a post this morning. Yeah, there's some times when I'm like, it's the middle of the night and I'm like, I gotta write this down. This is incredible. Okay. I find so much information when I'm tapping as well. Okay, but through what I'm going to teach you today, tomorrow, and the next day, I want you to be able to access that regulated state at any point. And you're going to start building the awareness, like a lot of you already have. You're going to start building the awareness to recognize, wow, I am in a dysregulated state right now. And no matter what I do, no matter how much I force myself to try to figure this out and do the dang thing, it is not going to work until I stop and regulate. Holy shit. And how long does it take us to regulate with tapping? Literally minutes, seconds even. Wow. Okay. So survival mode does not need to be dire. It does not need to be this really intense situation. Survival mode, yeah, then I'll forget and then I'll remember and I'll forget again and remember again. So don't be hard on myself. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. So when your body is hungry, a simple thing like hunger can trigger the fight or flight mode. Oh my gosh. Who else here used to not eat breakfast until they met me and until they learned about the expand tapping method, right? I never ate breakfast. And then I'd be in such a zone in the morning. I'd be like, okay, I'm getting up, I'm like getting to work and I'm going to bam out all this stuff. And then, it's lunchtime and I come into the kitchen in a frenzy. I'm like shaking, freaking out. Obviously, my body is in like not starvation mode necessarily, but I'm like in fight or flight mode. I need to eat now. Okay, so now it's something is so simple like eating, specifically focusing on something with protein, nuts, helps our body to feel safe. Isn't that incredible? Because it's those little things, right? Not getting enough sleep, living and existing in a stressful environment, not moving our body, not getting enough sunshine, all contribute to whether or not our body feels safe. These feel like very elementary concepts, right? Like this is like basic stuff, but it's surprising, right? It's surprising how many of us have forgotten to take care of ourselves. Healthy. I'm only eating now because of you. I don't like to eat on camera, but I now see how my body loves to be fed healthy food. Yes, and Kelty has completely transformed her life, her entire life around this concept of putting her body first. It's so incredible. Okay, so these are all reasons why and how your body could feel unsafe. There are so many reasons. So the fact is that when we are in survival mode, we're not even thinking, never mind dreaming. There is no creation happening when we are in survival mode. So if right now you're like, I know I'm existing in survival mode. I know that I'm living in survival mode. Even if your circumstances are stressful, are limited, are hard, that is okay. I'm going to teach you how you can detach from those circumstances and start to create a new idea in your imagination for yourself. And I'm well aware that this sounds insane, but I trust that you're all here for it because I've done it and it works. Okay. So another reason we could be existing in survival mode is because of old information. So let's talk about the subconscious mind because this is where tapping comes in as well. So if somebody, we were raised by or influenced by, taught us that the world is unsafe, is a dangerous place. There are dangerous people out there. You need to always be on guard. How are we seeing the world and what are we expecting? This is another reason we could be existing subconsciously in survival mode. And this like maybe even not necessarily like a full-blown survival mode, but it's still even like the tiniest bit of, oh, I don't know, can I trust this person? Is the world a safe place? Do I need to be on edge? Right? And then we start thinking, oh, what is that thing doing that? Someone's out to get me, like whatever it is. Those are things that are tainting our experience. They are affecting our perception on the world. So I've been using this concept a lot lately, speaking about it in all of my calls. I had a call with Shelby yesterday. Like, this is very, very important, is to always ask yourself, what idea am I thinking from right now? What idea am I thinking from? If I'm thinking that the world is a hard place, that money is hard to come by, that everyone needs to be on edge and da 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 da. What idea am I thinking from? Okay, so the subconscious mind, a lot of you have heard me talk about the subconscious mind in this way before, but it's basically where all of the information that we have collected along the way is stored, right? And as you know, up until the age of 7, the subconscious mind is wide open, just collecting information from our surroundings. So when we start to think of and become aware of our beliefs around the world, about the world, our beliefs about money, our beliefs about success, do we believe success is really hard and it takes a really long time? Do we believe we need to have a master's degree and a PhD to be successful? And what do we believe success even is? right? So all of these questions are very awesome opportunities to reflect on your own information that is stored in your subconscious mind. Because the truth is that we create our reality through that information that is stored in our subconscious minds. When we are young, it is wide open. We have no ability to reject information. So when we were young, like seven-ish and younger, we just accepted our outside reality as real. Whatever people told us, we accepted it. Okay, that becomes my truth. Money's hard to come by. Okay. Money doesn't grow on trees. Okay. You got to go to high school, then university, and get a degree to get anywhere in this life. Okay. Right. And so we started to live by that. And even as adults into our 30s and 40s and beyond, there's still part of us who can be living up to that. So think of that for a second, because this is really, really important. Okay. So the cool thing though is now that we are older than 7 years old, we actually can reject ideas. So we don't need to accept everything as truth. We can actually reject ideas. So anything that shows up, someone says something, we can say, well, that's interesting information. And in our mind, reject. We don't need to start a fight about it, but we can say, I don't believe that. Actually, I'm going to reject that. And instead of it inviting it into the subconscious mind and it becoming part of our program and conditioning and perspective and identity, I'm actually going to reject it. Okay, so tapping helps us to get that information out. And over these 3 days, I'm going to show you how to reprogram it. So today we're just working on awareness. We're just becoming aware of what is in the subconscious mind. What ideas have we been thinking of? What ideas are we thinking of from now? And where do we want to think from? Okay. So let me know if this is landing, you guys. I'd love to hear from you. Do you see similarities between how you live your life now and how you see the world around you? Do you see similarities in that and the way you were raised or the way that your family lives? Let me know in the chat. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an observation. I'm not saying that they're wrong in any way. Okay. So if we rewind back to 8 years ago, when I first found tapping, even before I first found tapping, what idea do you think I was thinking from? Yeah, because I can see the whole world. Okay, so that's a hard question because I can see the whole world and it seems crazy. So 8 years ago, what idea do you think I was thinking from? Before I found tapping, before I decided I was going to stop living in Laterland, I was thinking, yeah, not enough. I was thinking from one day, my life is going to change. I was thinking from this happened to me. I was thinking from lack, limitation, right? Being a single mom, desperation, pity. Yep. A little bit of victim stuff, probably. And not, the biggest thing is it's not most of the time intentional, right? It's not intentional. It's unconscious. Okay. There came a moment that I realized that I was living in a cycle. I was raised by a single mom, that my dad got up and left, right? And I was like, wow, I have a choice to make. Just like I made a choice fresh out of high school when I was abusing alcohol, believe it or not, I had an experience from about 15 years old, maybe 14, 15 years old, until I was 19 years old, where I was abusing alcohol. Why? because that was normal in my family. And at 19 years old, I decided to make a choice, make a decision to stop drinking when the rest of my family is still an alcoholic, still alcoholics, right? I made a decision just like that. I realized, because remember, awareness is the first step in changing anything. Awareness. I saw the results and I chose different and said, okay, fresh out of high school, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue down this path? Or do I want to do something about it? Because I'm the only one that gets to change it. I studied yoga. I moved to Australia. I traveled for 6 years before conceiving my son. Now I live in Costa Rica. Right? There were times through that journey that were not always easy, of course, but I chose a different path. So similarly to that moment in time where I chose to give up alcohol, to not drink, and it's not like it was a problem for me. I just recognized that it could have been. And I think today that a lot of people are actually alcoholics and not out of an addict standpoint, but it's a coping mechanism. Okay, that is being misused. Anywho, I realized when I was living in government housing, I was thinking from ideas that were small and that were limiting. Then tapping helped me to open up my perceptions and see what's actually possible. I started an online business. Okay, I started an online business before I found tapping. That online business didn't do very well in the beginning at all. Very well at all. And I was going through a lot. I was going through a separation. I conceived my daughter very unexpectedly in the middle of a separation. And I was in a state of survival. I was most definitely in survival mode. Okay, what changed? I found support. I found government housing that took a bit of the pressure off. Okay, I built my business during nap times, after bedtimes, and I continued to expand my perceptions. Okay, this is possible for me. I started to see with my business what was possible, how residual income worked, how the sales structure worked. I started to see the possibilities for me, but my inner world still didn't match where I wanted to go. That's why my results were not coming, and that's why my results were not changing. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what business structure you choose. It doesn't matter what company you work with. It doesn't matter if you're self-employed or employed by someone else, entrepreneur or employee. It does not matter. You are going to cap your income through who you believe you are and what you believe you're worth. Okay, I see this very often. I saw it within myself as well, that we create the same results no matter how much we do based upon our perceptions, our beliefs, and our identity. Crazy, right? Let me know if this is landing. Let me know if you've experienced this in the past. The first step to changing your results and manifesting a new reality is regulating your nervous system. And then it's deciding, what do I want? Crazy, right? So what idea did I need to think from to end up in Costa Rica? I needed to think from the identity, from the idea of abundance, of possibility, of not later land, right? I needed to think from the idea that this is actually what's happening. I decided once I became aware, holy shit, I'm living in a cycle, single mom, whole complete story, like honestly, almost word for word. I became aware and decided, I'm no longer here for this. Nope, I'm not going down this path and I'm going to make a difference. I am here to make a difference in the world. I've always known that. I've always known I'm here to lead. I'm here to do things differently and lead the way for others, right? So I decided to stop waiting for later. And I decided to make a decision. So I had been tapping at that point for years. And I'm not saying it needs to take you years to regulate your nervous system. I'm not saying it needs to take you years to be able to expand your perceptions and to think from a new idea. For me, that's what happened. Okay, I was in the middle of raising my tiny kids, and as I was learning tapping, and at the time I actually didn't know what I was doing, I began to override the old concepts, the old ideas, and I started to tap in a new reality for myself. So instead of continuing to think from the idea of lack and limitation, of government housing, of one day I'll show my babies the world, of, one day he's going to show up, I started to think from the idea that I did want. Okay, I started to think from the idea that I can take my kids to Costa Rica legally. I started to think from the idea of my business thriving, from the idea of me being a CEO of a business that brings in thousands and thousands of dollars passively every month. That's the idea I started to think from and I started to move from. Once I did that, what happened? This is the be, do, have. Be, do, have. Once I started to do that, once I started to be that version of me, the results started happening. My business started growing so fast. It was crazy, like insane. It started to grow so fast. Out of nowhere, their dad showed up. I kid you not. He showed up, signed the legal papers, gave me permission to leave the country with them. If I would have kept waiting and existing through old information and letting my current results be the idea that I was thinking from, where would I be? Probably still there by the rest, right beside the rest of my neighbors who are still living there. Right? So we need to think from a new idea. Okay, I want to ask you, let me know in the chat, let us know in the chat, what idea are you thinking from right now? What idea are you thinking from right now? Be honest. And maybe you're like, I'm thinking from my beach house, right? I'm thinking from my $1 million book sale. And that's awesome. I'm celebrating that. But be honest with yourself as well. What idea am I thinking from? And then I want to ask you, does it match where you want to go? Does it match where you want to go? Okay. You guys tell me in the chat. So this event is called Tap Into Her because she has a frequency. She has an energy that is very specific. And if we want to create a new reality, we get to tap into her energy and do have it into our reality. I'm a bit back and forth at this point. Not sure if it's the right answer. It's like I've tried before and it didn't work, mainly pertaining to my online business. Yes, these are great, great answers, you guys. And this is huge because I'm going to use this one as an example. I've tried that before and it didn't work. That is exactly the answer. Like that's the answer to the question. Okay. That is, so if you think of the signal that is sending out, because manifestation is actually very simple, right? Manifestation just gives us what we're giving. It just reflects what we're putting out there. So if we're thinking from that energy, I tried this before and it didn't work, right? Another common one is like, okay, I'll just give it a try. I don't know if this is going to work. I'll just give it a couple months, you know? What kind of idea are we thinking from? Failure. Failure in a big way. If we continue to think from these ideas, what's going to be our results? And we think that this is kind of like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Like I can just like hustle my way more and do more and like get it done and like I'll just get there. It'll work out eventually, right? No, it actually won't. Okay, like this is the work. I was thinking from a place of multimillionaire book seller, but then I hit my head, struggled. There's a lot going on right now, emotional and a bit overwhelming, but I'm doing my best to hold on to that story and all that's happening for me. And honestly, I feel like I called it in. It looks bad, but I think it's for me. Yes. Ah, cultivate, it's there. You have the awareness. You've built the muscle, right? Once we can almost think of it as this like pathway. Um, would you grab my water for me if you have a second? Thank you. Thank you. Um, when we have been working on ourselves and working on developing a new idea and a new identity and a new personal power, and we have been consciously aware, thank you, of building that out, we have that jungle trail already cleared, right? The work is already there. The foundation's there. The muscle memory is there. Okay, it's a matter of redirecting, giving yourself space, healing, you know, lots of things. I know what's going on in your world right now, like things are happening, things are moving, seeing it as opportunity, seeing it as this is happening for me and everyone else around me that I love, of course, right? For everyone's highest good. It's happening for me, just like you said. This is all a setup, even though sometimes we're like, what in the world? Why did this happen to me? But when we can switch it and say, this is all for me, and we can still hold that energy of, this is actually the truth. Because the truth is not what we see around us. The truth is not this 3D world. The truth is this. The truth is this. Everyone else outside of this, outside of my world, will tell you the other way around, right? Yes. Damn it, I did just that. I'll try this for a couple months. Shall we? Why would you do that? Hey, Andy. Okay. So I love that we're getting like this is really landing, you guys. Like this is the work. We try to brush this off and say, well, can you close that, please? Close the door, please.
This is here too.
Oh, thanks.
That's fine.
No, thanks. We try to tell ourselves that the real work is doing, that the real work is like setting up the things, right? Stripe link, the back end portal, like the sales page. The work is the website. The work is setting up the podcast. The work is recording the podcast, doing the posts, branding the thing. The work is, you guys, all of that, I want you to hear me, all of that doesn't matter if you do not have the identity and if you are not thinking from where you want to go, thinking from the idea of success is inevitable, of limitless potential, of like abundance, of influence, of whatever it is, best-selling books, of stages, of private flights, of millions in the bank, your name on a flipping billboard in New York City. Like if you're not thinking from where you want to go, the actions you are taking are being taken from a limited perspective. Okay. Interesting, right? So let's talk about the quantum field and then let's create a tapping activation together, a tapping session for venting, processing. We're going to start to get some of this information out. Okay, so the way I see the quantum field is it's just information. It is a field of information. So when I said this event is called Tap Into Her because she exists, I said this 3D reality is old information. This is what is truth. If we can hold some, you know, like Bob Proctor would say, what did he say? Like, you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, you know, like thoughts into things. This is what is truth. Where did anything around us come from? Someone's imagination. Money came from someone's imagination. Why are we trading sheeps and rice when let's trade something that's a little bit more like, you know what I mean? Okay. Where did planes come from? Some crazy boys. Some crazy boys with a wild idea that nobody else believed in, that they failed at so many times. And they continue to tell themselves a new idea and think from the idea of this shit is going to work. We're going to fly a piece of whatever. I think they started with wood, right? Wood or metal off the ground. Everyone around them said, what? It's not going to work. You guys are crazy. You can't fly. We're humans, right? So all of this is just to reiterate the fact that everything happens in our imagination. Okay. So if we can tap into her, the version of you who has, she has an energy, she has a frequency, and we can embody that and project that out through thinking from that idea. What are we going to receive? Okay, what signal are we sending out? What are we going to receive? What is manifestation again? It's super simple. Manifestation. The universe just gives us what we're giving. It sends us what we're sending out. That's the quantum field. We're projecting signals out to the field of what? Abundance, success is inevitable. Everything I desire is mine. Best-selling author, multimillionaire, world thought leader, whatever it is, successful coach that helps hundreds of women live a better life. That's incredible. If we can think from that, that's what we're projecting out to the quantum field. Okay, so we create a reality through our beliefs and our actions. Manifestation is just a mirror. Okay, the universe is just a mirror. It's giving what we're sending out. So, and then how do we change our results? We change our thoughts and beliefs. And that's what we're doing here. It's relatively simple, right? Okay, so tapping speaks the language of the subconscious mind, which is the space where the information is stored. Okay, so to summarize, the quantum field is basically just infinite information, but I also see it as the place where everything exists at the same time. Okay, it is always responding to the information that we're always sending out. So if, for example, tomorrow, I'm going to give you an inner child quantum healing session where you're going to go back in time and relive a situation that you choose. Okay, that when you go back in time will feel like it's happening again. Why is that? Because everything is happening at the same time. Similarly, when we can travel through time in our imagination and go into a future timeline where she exists, the version of us who has the desires that we want to experience, we can go into the future and we can experience it. Why? Because it's happening. It's on our timeline. I know these are broader perspectives and like concepts, but it's possible. Okay, so the common thoughts that I hear, okay, because you guys didn't answer me, I don't think, when I say what idea are you thinking from? Oh, you kind of did. Okay, so what I usually hear is I don't know what I want. The thoughts, the ideas that you're thinking from, the thoughts that you're thinking. I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm selling. I'm not good enough. I need to go back to school. I'm not smart enough. Success is really hard. Like, do I need to keep going? Are any of these landing? Like, tell me what yours are in the chat. Like, what is in the way? What is that thing that's like, I'm not, like Shelby had mentioned already, like it didn't work last time, right? I'm really busy. I don't have a lot of time. The world is crazy. So this is a little controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. I question my choices. This is controversial, but I'm going to say it anyway. Decision making is the answer to regulating the nervous system. And like I said, I know this is controversial. I know this that I said in the beginning that regulating the nervous system is the key to the first step in manifesting a new reality. It absolutely is. Okay. It absolutely is. But here's the thing. And this is going to be kind of tricky to explain because this is a concept that I thought up in my mind that I received. And I'm like, I don't really know how to deliver this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. So when we avoid making a decision, because we are in survival mode, because we don't know how, because the world is happening around us, because of our circumstances, when we avoid making a decision and we are clearly living in survival mode and we avoid a decision because we're in survival mode, we feel stressed more because we know we need to make a decision. We know that making the decision will change our life because then we'll have a North Star, because then we'll know who she is and we'll begin to move in the assumption of her and we begin to like point fingers at other people, right? And continue to live in that limbo. And then we don't make a decision. But what happens when we make a decision? I've experienced this firsthand and with multiple people as well. And this is kind of more of, I don't know if I finished that thought with Bob Proctor, but like making a decision and then upgrading your personal power and taking action from a new idea and continuing to hold it will help you to regulate your nervous system as well. So regulating is the first step, yes. But as soon as this is what I'm talking about, when I was trying to explain and like share a little bit more about what this was about, what Tap Into Her was about, and how we were talking about experiencing the tapping method while we are healing and expanding at the same time, it's this, is because healing doesn't need to take a lifetime. Okay. And healing could be exchanged with a different word. Regulating. Regulating doesn't need to take a lifetime. Regulating and expansion work together because regulating and making a decision or making a decision and regulating work together. Does that make sense? Isn't that incredible? Because what happens when we make a decision? We know where we're going. What happens when we get clear on that decision and make the decision on I always say like a cellular level. Like, I don't know how to properly depict this, like, or to say this is like, we're making a decision that is a like life decision. We're all in. It's like the moment that I decided I wasn't going to wait anymore. And the universe helped me decide through a car crash. I was on the side of that highway with semi-truck sliding towards me on black ice. And I made that goddamn decision. I made that decision. So it's making that type of decision. When we make that decision, what happens to our nervous system? It soothes, it calms, it regulates because our body, our mind likes to know what's coming next. This is why I believe structure and schedule is very, very helpful. We see it all the time with children, right? When we are leading our kids and they don't have some sort of a structure, routine, humans love to have routines. And I'm not saying one routine is everybody's routine, but having that helps us because our mind likes to know what is coming. Okay, so decision making is very, very powerful. So the contrast is going to show up. And maybe that's where some of you are right now, right? The contrast shows up as in, okay, I make a decision, I upgrade my personal power, and then the contrast is going to show up and tell me all the old information. Okay, in my opinion, making a decision is the fastest way to collapse time because it's the fastest way to see what's actually inside the subconscious mind. Make a decision and take action in a new way and watch what comes up. Have you guys experienced that before? Yes. That is a gift. Most people, and maybe you've done this before, have seen that as a fault, as, oh, I mustn't be ready, or I don't know enough. See, I knew it. Or what did he say again? Yeah, I can't remember, but does this make sense? So it's like making a decision and taking action is the best thing to do because then we can actually see what's in the subconscious mind. So that's why I believe regulating, healing, and expanding your nervous system can happen at the same time because it's not just one and then never the other because we're not here to just regulate, right? Let me know. You're not here to just regulate, right? You're here to expand. You're here to grow. You're here to do better, be better, make bigger impact, make more money, whatever it is, live a better life. We're not here to just regulate. Where a lot of people who teach tapping are teaching, who teach tapping are teaching solely regulating. No. Okay, I know that we're running over a bit here. All right. So the key to change is holding the image of what we do want without reacting to what we don't, because we now see it and understand it as a gift. It's a gift. It is a gift. It is a gift. That information that is showing up is coming out of the subconscious mind. And the sooner that you can prove it wrong, the sooner that you can free it from your body and your mind and your field and your experience, the sooner it will no longer be your reality. Okay. So, but the key is holding it. Yes, thank you so much for being here. I'll send out the replay. The key to change is holding the image of what we do want without reacting to what we don't. Visionary women, that's us here. We have the ability to believe in the unseen. This is us using our imagination for good instead of bad. Okay, and I know a lot of us are using our imagination for what we don't want, right? But we want to use it for good. We want to create a new idea in our imagination, okay? So decision making again. I want to ask you, what do you believe, if anything, is blocking you, stopping you, or slowing you down when it comes to making a decision or when it comes to achieving the decision? So some of you, maybe you've already made the decision. You know where you're going. Some of you, maybe you're like, I haven't made the decision yet. I kind of know. So what do you believe is stopping you from making the decision, or what do you believe is stopping you from attaining, creating, living that reality? Let me know in the chat. All right. Maybe narrowing down the exact plan. Okay, knowing where I'm going and I think I know where I'm going, and I think maybe old beliefs pop up. Thank you. Oh, sweaty out here. So, thank you. Shelby, why do you need to know the exact plan? Tell me in the chat. Are you God? Are you universe? Because I think you might be thinking you are. And Kelty knows all about this, and I know you do too. If you know the exact plan, how boring. How boring and how limiting. Because if we're moving, I love that you said this. Thank you for saying this, by the way, because I know a lot of people are thinking this. So if we are thinking that, okay, I got to plan it all out, and this is what we've been taught, so this is why most people think this way, right? If I'm going to plan it all out and I'm going to plan it, I'm planning it from my current perception, even if I'm thinking from the desired result, right? Even if I'm thinking of her, from the idea that she would have, I'm still limited. Yeah, I'm still limited. Or what exactly I want to make the decision and stick to it. Yeah, or what exactly I want to make the decision and stick to it. Yes. So we got to know what we want, but we don't need to know all the details. When I first made the decision that I was taking my kids out of Canada for the winter, I didn't know where I was going. I just knew it was somewhere warm. I had no clue. No clue. But I just acted in the assumption of, I don't care where I'm going. I'm packing my damn bags. Guess what I'm packing? My summer clothes. So I know it's somewhere warm. What ended up happening? I randomly met a girl who lived in Costa Rica. I was planning, I was like, oh, maybe I'll go to Mexico because it's easy. Everyone does that. It's easy. I'm in Canada, direct flights, pretty easy. I've been to Mexico a few times, easy. But then I met a girl in Costa Rica and was like, okay, that looks awesome. She's like, I'll come get you from the airport. I'll go look at your rental house for you. Amazing. The path of least resistance. Okay, why do we as humans always complicate life? Right? Like nature always takes the path of least resistance. You do not see a river trying to go up a mountain. But here we are. Like if I was to say, okay, but I don't know if I want to go to Costa Rica, like I don't know, like Mexico, maybe I should go to Portugal. Like what? Instead of saying yes, yes, how does it feel? That feels good. That feels easy. Let's do it. I'm going to choose that. Easy, done. So good, right? So sometimes my brain's like, fuck it, it's too hard to stay small. It's not so bad here. I know, Kelty. I know we all can resonate with that. But then we're like, actually, I know I'm not here for that, right? I know I'm not here for that. I've told you even before, there's been times where my brain's like, just go and live off grid in the jungle. No one will even notice. No, I'm not here for that. There was a point in my life when I was backpacking around Europe by myself, and I was with my hammock and I was up in the mountains in Spain and I was sitting there and I was like camping every night, like living, I was busking with my guitar, like making like just enough money to like eat, basically eat once a day, sleeping in the forest with my guitar, my bike, and my hammock. I was sitting there on a rock and I was like, what a waste of a fucking life. I was like, I am here for so much more than this. Who am I impacting being here? This like lump on a rock, basically a burden to society. Exactly. Just like you just said. I remember I'm here for more. There's still those moments. Of course. But what is it? It's old information. It's a choice. This is all information. It's all an opportunity to choose and to choose again. So we can choose that or we can choose extension. And it's really exciting, actually. Okay, so let's create a tapping together. So I want to, yes, yes, yes. I'll send out the replay. You're so welcome. So good to see you. All right, so because I know there's some people that are newer to tapping here on the replay specifically, I'm going to explain a little bit about what EFT is and explain about a bit about the tapping points. Okay, we're going to talk more about this over the next few days as well, but let's just do a really, really quick overview so we know what we're talking about here, and then we can actually create a tapping together. And yeah, and have some fun with it. And then you guys will know exactly how to create your own venting and processing tapping that you can use at any point, anytime, anywhere. Okay, so EFT is emotional freedom techniques. So what we are doing is freeing stuck emotion from our body by tapping on acupressure points, energy meridians in the body, the face, the torso. Okay, and specific points have a specific meridian line and it's connected to a specific part of the body. All right, so I'm going to just share a couple of them that I feel are very, very important. Okay, so there are many different tapping practitioners that do tapping all sorts of different ways. Like I said, this is my method that I have created through my own experiences of tapping with different people and also through my manifestation experiences and knowledge as well. So the setup point, the side that the karate chop point is the small intestine, and it's used as a setup point. So if we are venting and processing, this helps us to release resistance and balance the yin and yang energy. Okay, so this is the setup point. When we are doing our tapping, that is more of an expansion and activation. We usually start on the top of the head because there is no resistance. We might encounter resistance along the way, which is good. Remember that any information, any resistance that comes up is really, really good. I call it like your golden nuggets because that is what helps us to get better, to do better, is realizing and becoming aware of those limitations and resistance. Okay, so in that case, when we are tapping for our more of our like activating and expanding tapping on Saturday, we're going to go right to the top of the head. But if when we are tapping, we encounter resistance, then you can write it down and then you can go to this side of the hand and say, well, it looks like I'm still holding on to da di da. And I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm ready to release it from my body. And we can talk ourselves through that, which we're going to talk about today and create one of those today. Okay, so that is an important one, in my opinion, is the small intestine on the side of the hand to release resistance and balance the energy. Another one that not many people talk about is the liver point, and that is on the chest. And it's going to tilt my computer down a bit, like along the bra line. Okay, you'll see sometimes people tap in the middle. I like to tap along the whole like rib cage there. Okay, so it's right generally like right along the bra line. This is the liver meridian. Okay, what is the liver for? What is the function of the liver in the body? So the liver is like our detoxifier. Okay, so in traditional Chinese medicine, it governs the smooth flow of qi and emotions. So if you think of it, it's releasing the garbage from our body, our nervous system, our subconscious mind. And so tapping here is apparently good to help with releasing anger, irritability, resentment, right? It's great for detoxing. With the liver is like a detoxing organ. So when we're tapping on that line, we are processing and detoxing old energy, old information, old emotions. So cool, right? So that's a big one. So I mean, each of them has their own meridian. It connects into the eyebrow. Here is the bladder, right? Letting go of fear and calming the nervous system. What else? Under the cheekbone is the stomach to support grounding and releasing worry. So all of them have their own location and meridian line. If you have questions specifically, let me know in the chat as well. But what you're basically doing when we are tapping is we are tapping on those acupressure or those acupressure points or those energy meridians, and we are giving a voice to the inner voices. Okay, and remember that historically, this is very important. Historically, women were not able to use their voices, and they were not able to speak their truth. And even still today in 2025, there are places on this planet where women are not allowed to speak their truth. And so by giving our truth a voice and speaking it out loud is so healing in itself. And it is incredible how fast we can shift the energy and also free this information from our bodies. Okay, so cool, right? All right, so let's create a venting and processing tapping session together. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how to apply it in your life, and then we're going to close out for today. Okay, so what do we believe is in the middle? I'm going to just look back through the notes. So what you want to find when you are creating a venting and processing tapping, remember to free yourself from old information, old thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, whatever it is. You want to think, okay, what is between where I am right now and where I want to go? Or what is a dominant feeling that I'm feeling right now? So if you have one there, Shelby, share it in the chat if anything's coming up for you. I think we should go with, I'm just going to write some notes here. I left my keyboard over there. I think we should do something around, I've tried that before and it didn't work. So what I'm going to do is I will just write down that. I tried this before and it didn't work. Stuck, which is connected to safety. Okay. I feel stuck. and feel unsafe. Okay, we're just gonna piece it together here and wing it, and I'm gonna show you how easy it is to put this together for yourself. Life is lifing. Things are happening around. The contrast, lifing, the contrast feels real. Feels stuck. Yep, said. Safety or security, yes. Okay, let's try it out. So let's find a comfortable seat. Sit up taller, roll your shoulders up and back. You can do this anywhere at any time. That's something I really love about tapping. Okay, so take a deep breath in through the nose. And you're going to exhale as if you're blowing out a straw. Long and slow. And then inhale again. And exhale. Okay, close your eyes, bring one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, and just notice how you're feeling right now. Notice what you feel is blocking you, stopping you, slowing you down in any way, limiting you, feeling heavy in this moment right now. And then when you're ready, opening your eyes, we're just going to start tapping on the karate chop point, the side of our hands. And we're literally just going to start speaking out what we feel. So I'm going to use what you guys shared in the chat. And if something comes up, feel free to put it in the chat as well. Even though I tried this before and it didn't work. Even though there's part of me that feels stuck or unsafe. Even though there's a lot happening right now in my life. And the contrast feels very real. And it feels easier at times to stay exactly where I am. That's okay. I still love myself. I'm grateful for this awareness. But I am so ready to grow. I am so ready to free myself from this information. And even though it feels pretty real sometimes, that's okay. That is okay. Let's go to the top of the head. I'm reminding myself that I'm safe. Eyebrows. And that even though these feelings and fears feel very real, I am here to do really, side of the eyes, sorry. I'm here to do really big things. Under the eyes. There are people all over the world waiting for me. Under the nose. And I no longer want to create the same results. Under the mouth. And so even though right now I'm feeling collarbones, a little stuck, Under the arms, a little discouraged. Under the chest, a little uncertain. Wrists. That is okay. Top of the head, I'm going to give myself grace. Eyebrows, send myself love. Side of the eyes, and connect into where I'm going. Under the eyes, because that is the truth. Under the nose, that is what I'm here for. And all under the mouth, and all I need to do, collarbones, is think from there. Under the arms is to take action from there. Under the chest. And so even though these feelings have felt very real, wrists, I'm ready to let them go. Top of the head, I'm ready to forgive myself and anyone else involved. Eyebrows, and I'm ready to create a new story for myself. Side of the eyes, so I'm going to go into my day now. Under the eyes, as if I can't fuck it up. Under the nose, as if my success is inevitable. Under the mouth, as if everything is happening in perfect timing for me. Collarbones, and I'm going to keep showing up. Under the arms, as the version of me I know I'm here to be. Under the chest, I'm going to let go of the details. Or wrists. I don't need to know the how. Top of the head, all I need to do is be me. Eyebrows, enjoy the process. Side of the eyes, trust in the process. Under the eyes, and enjoy the frickin' journey. Under the nose, because all of these dreams and desires are mine. Underneath the mouth, they're already happening. Collarbones, I feel so grateful and excited. Underneath the arms, that everything is happening in perfect timing. Under the chest, I feel so much lighter. Wrists. And so it is. Bring one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Take a deep breath in. And exhale through the straw. And now just notice how you feel again. Notice if anything has shifted. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Let me know if you feel like anything has shifted for you. It's so fast, right? That was great. Tapping shifts our energy so quickly. I don't even know how long that was, but I imagine it was around 5 to 6 minutes. So we can free ourselves from that information in a matter of minutes. We can change the entire trajectory of our entire day and life in a couple minutes. Do you write it out before you tap, or just let it come as you tap? When I tap for myself, I let it come. because that is me channeling. That is me like really getting into my subconscious mind and allowing myself to feel. It is so powerful when we tap by ourselves. Okay. Yes, it's powerful when we tap together. People are like, that's not very good for your business. Like, yes, okay, it's powerful when we tap together. It is so powerful when you tap alone as well, because then you can get the most vulnerable as you can possibly get, right? There are times when I tap alone, when I am like releasing, like crying, like immensely. And it is like, it's okay. I am okay. I am safe. And I'm going to let myself feel this emotion. And I'm going to recognize where it's coming from and what it is. I'm freeing it from my body. I'm letting it go. Okay. So I hope that was helpful, you guys. I hope now you see how easy it is to take the information. Like you guys, I'm constantly aware of the idea that I'm thinking from. And if I have any moment of doubt or resistance, or I respond or react in a way that is not her, I question it. And I'm like, wow, wait a second. What was that? And if I'm out and about, I'll just write a note in my phone. I'll write a note in my phone to come back to later. If I'm listening to somebody, right, on a training, a call, a mentorship call, whatever it is, and something triggers me, I write it down because I know there's something there. Sit with this. I write it like, sit with this concept, and I write it out, or tap on this. And I ask myself, okay, I was feeling this certain way. I was feeling triggered by this. Why is that? And then I let myself sit and I feel, and I let the voice, the words come through me. It's because of this. And I continue to talk. It's like a conversation with yourself. So powerful. So how do we apply this in our daily life? It's that. It's being so extremely aware and watching your thoughts, watching your reactions, watching your beliefs, the way you respond or react. And it is taking those notes and actually coming back to it later. Okay, tapping is so powerful to do, specifically in the morning. We're going to talk about routines tomorrow. It's so important specifically to do in the morning, but also as we go throughout the day, more times than not, by the time, midday, we're like back into our old routines, back on autopilot, right? So it's really powerful to do it more than once per day, whenever you want, right? That when I'm driving in the car, it's very often that I'm tapping, or I'm just voicing, right? If you are driving, even just speaking out loud these points of resistance, talking yourself through these big emotions and feelings and thoughts and beliefs and things, is also very, very helpful as well. Okay. Any other questions? Isn't it cool to know that we have the ability to shift our frequency in minutes, or shift our point of attraction, and then teach our kids how to do this too? So we get to decide what we hold on to and what ideas we think from at any point. And remember, like we said, like doing the masculine action work is not the work compared to this. This is the work that makes that work inevitable. It makes that work easy. When we're in a regulated state, when we're in an expanded, heightened awareness, the energy of her, the action becomes easy. Oh my gosh, it becomes a duh. Of course, I'm so excited to work on that. Instead of I need to figure out what to post. It makes so much sense, right? Okay, so before I let you go, I want to see you all tapping. So if you are tapping later today, or whenever you're watching this tomorrow, if you record yourself, record a little video of yourself. You don't have to put audio. You can put music over top, right? Record yourself tapping, and you can send it to me, or you can share it on your socials, and you can tag me at the Jocelyn Dawn, so I can celebrate you, and I can reshare with your permission, of course, because I want to see you tapping. And I think that more people need to know how powerful tapping is. Okay. I'm so grateful for you all here with me live. Hey, Shelby. And those of you on the replay, don't forget about the VIP option, you guys. If you feel called to pretty much private coaching inside Telegram with me for $44 until October 1st, let's do it. I can support you in discovering what's blocking you, might be stopping you, slowing you down. I can help you to take the information that we learn together over these 3 days together and integrate it and help you to create your own customized tapping sessions and all of the things so you can free this old information, so you can move through this resistance or blocks or like whatever happened, so that you can move through it and free it from your experience and actually step into owning the identity of her and start acting in the assumption of. Okay, so you can upgrade, you can message me if you need the link, but the link is inside our Telegram group all over the place. It's inside the portal on Facebook. It's probably in your email more than 3 times as well. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to move into healing. It's going to be a deeper conversation, so you probably want to bring the tissues. I'm going to teach you about the nervous system, the polyvagal theory. I'm also going to give you an inner child quantum healing session to experience in your own time. That is very, very powerful because of what we said today. A lot of what we're doing here and thinking from, the ideas we're thinking from, it has to do with our past. So tomorrow we're going to talk about healing, feeling safe, and making sure our body feels safe. We're going to talk about routines, right? We're going to talk about other ways our nervous system, and go a little bit deeper than we did today on other ways our nervous system could potentially be feeling unsafe as well, so that we can actually be preventative versus reactive, okay? So this is the freaking work. I'm so grateful you're all here, and I'm so excited to continue to see you rise and cheer you on, and to just like experience what you are creating and what we are creating together, okay? So go have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here. Shall we go have a nice day, and we'll see you again tomorrow, you guys. Tomorrow is an hour earlier, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, okay? Bye. I'll send out the replay right after. See you tomorrow.